Wow. Look at this.
And does anybody else have permissions to admit people once we start? I'll just keep doing it. Back to the Phaeton thing. Wow.
Only if you make them co-host, if they agree to be co-host.
That would be cool. Let me try and do that one time.
It's the ...
Host tools, meeting settings. So there was more. I'm gonna we're letting people in. I'm gonna get started, and now I'm doing the Dana thing where I'm talking as we're setting up, about the setting up. And it's really actually special and precious that we always did that. And I'm gonna say this while I give this one try. And that is that, you know, I went to Israel with my family. And when we went to Israel, we went to see the first church. And if some of you know that the very first church was in a living room. And you stand over this kind of glass floor and you look down on the first church. And I think that it's very special that even as we grew and growed into different places, we kind of never left the living room. And so many people said to me so many times, you know, if you do this, you'll go viral. If you do this high gloss thing, gloss it up, you know, and Dana edited these things and made them very beautiful. But also, we never made it about the instant media, social media, you know, and the Instagram and all those things. It always had an energy. It's always had an energy of the living room. I'm in a living room now, and so I think it's important that I don't come in with an announcer voice and a hard start, because that's not what we've ever done. So I do want to get started. We do have a plan for tonight, actually a very busy, full agenda. I'd like to start actually by telling a short story. And I want to invite everyone, by the way, to turn on their cameras. This is being recorded, and we'll share it afterwards. And the first way that y'all are all showing your love for Dana is just by being here and showing up. And so thank you. Yeah, I say thank you, but also with that hesitation of thanks, that is to say, I know you're doing it for your reasons to be here. So it's beautiful, and I want to honor it. What I wanted to start by sharing is that many years ago, before I met Dana, I was hearing about Dana. He was a teacher of some of my roommates. I was living in a place called the Myth House, and this was with 5 to 7 to 8 other Myth PhD students from Pacifica Graduate Institute. And during that time, we were working on the journal for the school. We ran a Joseph Campbell Foundation mythological roundtable at the Ojai Foundation, where Campbell spoke. And our fantasy, our dream, was these group of us getting together to live in a world of mythology. Just that was the dream. And we were mythologizing our reality on the trail, and the pomegranates with the upside down crowns, and everything around us was mythological. We had, as they said, Homo Ludens, after inspiration from Lance above the door, man of play. So we were mythologizing our reality, and we wanted to have a community of mythology around us, and we were trying to do it. But we were a bunch of young men, and we didn't have everything that we needed to really get it to where we dreamed of it being. And all along that time, we were writing a story together, and we called it The Bowl of the Buddha. And it was kind of like an Indiana Jones story where they were searching for the Holy Grail, but the Holy Grail they were looking for was the bowl that the Buddha put into the water when he realized the middle way. And this bowl, I realized now, as I was preparing for this bowl represented what we were really questing for, which was that community, which was a community of people who loved mythology, a sangha around mythology. And this became the symbol of the Myth Salon. I was thinking about it, and there's really nothing else. This is it. This is the one object, this Buddhist bowl, this singing bowl. And it's what we were all questing for. We were all looking for this community that this bowl would come to represent. And Dana gave me this bowl. Dana gave me what I was questing for. He brought this community into my life. He made this world around me just by asking me to show up and do my small part. And I know that so many of us feel that way, that Dana is responsible for making this world that we've gotten to participate in. It's so beautiful. And it has so much to do with who he is and what he is that enabled it to start in his living room, with these barbecues that we did. We'll hear about them, I'm sure, later through the Pacifica Alumni Association that he hosted, just this community quality that he had. And from the barbecues to the Myth Salons in his living room, and then with COVID to the world. And it was really what he was that made it all possible. And today I went on a walk. I like to go for a walk. I don't know what to say sometimes. And I saw an egret. And an egret's known for its white feathers, like Dana. And but also the egret's steady, patient, pure-hearted, balanced, and it knows when to strike. So good to be here with you. I'm going to share a video. And then,
Will, before you do, sorry to interrupt your beautiful flow, but there are some people that are texting that it says it's at capacity and they can't get in. And there's something else that's, which just doesn't surprise me.
Okay.
And somebody else is texting that they need you to make them co-host. So I just thought you might want to peek at your chat.
Okay, let's see.
That would be me.
Okay.
Okay, let's see if we can make
If you click on participants
go
and click on the side of somebody's name that we'd like to make co-host, click on more.
Okay.
There should be then an ability.
I'm gonna come back to the co-host channel challenge and first try to go live on YouTube, but why isn't it working? Now that's interesting. See, we pay the Zoom master the bill, so I'm surprised we're hitting a capacity. Okay. This is not. Okay.
If you need a bigger Zoom room, I can get us a bigger Zoom room, but we'd have to get it all out there again.
Interesting.
I think that might be.
Hold on. This should work. I know I should be able to stream this on YouTube.
Are you logged into the right Zoom account?
Yes, this is Dana's Zoom account.
Because there's only one person saying it's at capacity, so maybe.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't want to have everybody have to.
Okay, no, that's good. You haven't gotten a whole bunch of that. Okay.
No, just one. One person saying it's at capacity. Yeah.
I have a friend that cannot get in either. It says the same thing. Yeah.
Same thing. Okay, one sec. I think I know how to do it. Live.
Also, I've been seeing 4 pages of people for 10 minutes. So, or 5 minutes, whatever, a period of time. So nobody's added on for a while.
Aha, yes. Okay. Let's see. Is this how to do it? Title. Okay, so I'm logged into my YouTube and I'm gonna give this. Oh my gosh, I feel like I'm doing the Dana a little bit right now. Okay.
You're doing good.
You're doing great. You're doing great.
Thanks. Okay.
You're in a room full of love.
Anyway.
Okay. The user is not enabled for live streaming. So apparently I have lost some kind of access. Wait, maybe if it's unlisted? No. Okay. All right.
You'd have to log in on Dana's YouTube, I bet.
That may be.
Mhm.
I don't have Dana's YouTube, and I'm not going to be able to stream this out. And that I'm not sure I have a solution. And
Let me call the person on the chat on our text group line and just check in with them real quick.
okay.
And it may be that the recording is the solution.
Yeah, well, the
Yes.
recording will definitely be there.
Yes,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay. And looks like, yeah, it looks like every time somebody leaves, I'm able to let in a couple more. I wish it would show me people on the waiting list too, just in case there were people that were planning to speak that are coming in. Jacqueline, will you keep a special eye on our text thread in case there's anybody that's planning to speak that can't get in? And okay. All right. I think that we should go ahead.
So I just tried calling him and it went straight to voice message.
Calling, who is that? Sorry.
The person on the text message who said who couldn't get in, I was trying to call him to check in with him, but it went straight to voice message.
Okay, great. That's right.
It's Chris Holmes.
Oh, that's Chris.
Holmes.
It's Chris.
Okay.
Let me send I want Chris to get in here.
Yeah.
Call Zoom, they can extend it for you right now.
That's the confusing part, is that we've actually for sure paid for this. Okay. Oh, wait. You know what? I'm going to wait to admit people. So he should be able. So I'm just going to wait to admit people. That should work. Okay. Well, wow. We're breaking things. That's a beautiful thing. Okay. I'm going to play this video.
Well,
Yeah.
This is Rita. Several people have mentioned about the egret when you were talking about the egret, and I was at Huntington Gardens on Saturday.
Uh-huh.
And there's an egret there. And somebody else posted that they saw an egret at Huntington Gardens, which is near Pasadena, San Marino, for those who don't know the area. So the egret is with us.
Beautiful. Thank you. And for those of you who don't know Rita, Rita has been a leader in the Pacifica Alumni Association in Southern California, and has been, important conversation partner for us all this time, an important part of the community I was just talking about. Okay, we've got Chris in. I think that choppy is okay, but I think we should try. I'm going to try to show this video now.
Will, make sure that you got that sound checked when you bring it up. I always forget.
It doesn't even ask me, so I'm really hoping that it's going to do it. Okay, but please do let me know right away. All right, down, and I just loaded everything onto this one page so that everyone knows everything that I'm going to reference tonight that I had access to ahead of time. I loaded onto this page for the purpose of simplicity. Okay. I'm going to play this, and then we're going to shift to Dennis after I give a little bit of an itinerary for the evening. This was meant to play right after the bell.
Sorry about that.
It's all good.
Is that quiet?
Yeah.
Yeah, we cannot hear anything.
Nothing's playing yet.
Let's see.
We don't see the video either. Will, do you see it?
Really? Okay. Interesting. Do I need to play it now? Do you see it?
Yeah.
Interesting.
I don't
Okay,
know.
we'll do it that way. Now, can you hear it?
Not yet.
No.
Hmm.
You might have to actually go onto YouTube itself rather than playing it off your webpage.
This is super fun. Okay, here's the thing.
Yeah.
When I share on it only lets me share, doesn't let me share screen anymore. I don't know if you've seen this on Zoom. It makes you go directly to a URL, and it doesn't let you go directly to YouTube. So there is no actual share screening anymore. So what I have this set up for is to go to this URL so that I can show it on this page. And I'm gonna try one more time and see if it'll actually play the audio. Still no audio? Y'all don't hear it?
No.
Audio, no video.
Okay. Shoot.
Click the original sound for musicians in the settings.
Chris, you're the man. All right, what do I do?
Go to
Settings?
audio settings.
Okay.
There's a little knob for original sound for musicians.
In more, where's audio settings?
Up on the upper right.
Settings, it's like the third one down.
See, I'm on my iPad, and that might be why I'm not seeing it. That's probably why I have so little meeting settings. There we go. Meeting topic. Yeah. Okay, let me do this. Let me try and make somebody else the maybe somebody else will have more permissions. And this is the okay, so if I click on
Next to the person's name, there should be a button that says more. And then as you scroll down, it should say make co-host.
okay, here's the delightful thing is that because again, I am there we go. Okay. All right. Jacqueline, are you on a desktop?
I am.
Okay, perfect. And what's your name?
If it's any consolation, we've all been through this. Well,
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Me, I tell you, you know,
and Dana
too. There we go. And Dana too. Okay. All right, Jacqueline, I made you the co-host. And tell me, can you just share screen like a normal as normal? Okay.
Hold on. Share screening. There we go.
Amazing. Okay. And then if you scroll down, I'm going to tell you which video it is. It's the last video before the pictures.
Okay, hold on. It's like there's something popping up on my screen. Sure. Okay. Share pictures. This one?
A little further. This one. Yeah.
Okay. Oh, there we go.
There's no audio at first.
Hold on a sec. Let me actually do this. I think I need to stop the share screen and reshare the audio because that's what I forgot myself. Hold on a second.
Amazing. Thank you. Yeah, gosh, I've teach enough classes and this becomes normal.
Okay, let's try this again.
Can you do full screen?
Community was what drove the Myth Salon from an idea into a concept, into an event that started 4 years ago in my home. And this year, because of the coronavirus, we were driven online. Now, as sad as that is, what it has done is it has enlivened the entire community. And over the course of the year, we've done 21 Myth Salons.
I think the Myth Salon is the West Coast version of Eranos. It really is a banquet. And I look forward to hearing from people as much as I enjoy presenting some ideas as I hope food for thought.
The emails we get are more about the community and more about the experience and what it means than it is about some great insight that came. And I know that comes too, but those aren't the emails that we get.
Dennis, I need to take a class with you.
Yes.
I need to take a tutorial with you.
I think we all need to learn from one another.
That's what we're doing here. That's the blessing of this place.
In a way, the whole Myth Salon has emerged out of that sense of trust that if we come together, magic happens.
Thank you, Jacqueline. And now I just want to go straight to Dennis. Dennis, if you'd like to read us the poem that you prepared, that'd be beautiful. And then from there, we're going to shift to some people that have been especially integral to the Myth Salon and its co-creation. Some people that have been recurring and special guests that are prepared a few things for tonight. And then we're going to share a little bit of art that's come through. Chris is here with us, who's made some art. Then we're going to have an open wake for anyone who'd like to share anything. And when we do that, I'd like to ask people to speak for 1 to 3 minutes, whatever you've prepared. And then we're going to move it out with a piece from Jacqueline, who did a Mythic Nexus event that was to honor the Myth Salon. And one of the most beautiful things, I mentioned this in the note, one of the most beautiful things around the loss of Dana, when you see it coming, sometimes you'll do special things to prepare. And then when you don't see it coming, sometimes you'll do some things a week or two late. But the fact that the Mythic Nexus, which is the graduate students of Pacifica's Myth program, got together to host an event to honor Dana in the Myth Salon the week before he died, the fact that he could be there for that was so beautiful. So Jacqueline will share a little bit of that event. And then we'll hear from Michelle, Dana's wife, unless she waves that off at that time, which is invited and fair and fine. And then I'll read a poem, and then I'll share a piece of art from our friend Chris Holmes to play us out for the evening. So with that, I hope everyone has an idea of what to expect, and I'm going to invite Dennis to bring us in with the poem.
Thank you, Will. One of the treats of being part of the Myth Salon since COVID was watching Dana search out for the right poem to begin that evening that was always related to the speaker's subject matter. And that's not an easy task to do even once, but Dana did it consistently, opening with a poem. So in his spirit, I want to do 2 things. First, I want to light a candle to Dana's presence. Here is that enlivening that Dana was so beautifully equipped to share with us. And the poem that I want to read is by a poet that I think many of you know, Naomi Shihab Nye, a Palestinian-born woman who is San Antonio's poet laureate. When I used to teach at a Catholic university in San Antonio, Naomi would come to our English classes and read her poetry. She was a generous spirit, and still is, living in the King Williams district of San Antonio. One of the poems that I have loved fits, I think, tonight's affections for Dana. And it's entitled simply Kindness. Before you know what kindness is, you must lose things. Feel the future dissolve in a moment, like salt in a weakened broth. What you held in your hand, what you counted and carefully saved, all this must go. So you know how desolate the landscape can be between the regions of kindness. How you ride and ride, thinking the bus will never stop. The passengers eating maize and chicken will stare out the window forever. Before you learn the tender gravity of kindness, you must travel where the Indian in a white poncho lies dead by the side of the road. You must see how this could be you, how he too was someone who journeyed through the night with plans and the simple breath that kept him alive. Before you know kindness as the deepest thing inside, you must know sorrow as the other deepest thing. You must wake up with sorrow. You must speak to it till your voice catches the thread of all sorrows, and you see the size of the cloth. Then it is only kindness that makes sense anymore. Only kindness that ties your shoes and sends you out into the day to gaze at bread. Only kindness that raises its head from the crowd of the world to say, "It is I you have been looking for," and then goes with you everywhere, like a shadow or a friend.
Thank you, Dennis. Voris, I know I want us to make sure we have time with you today. Some of y'all remember Voris and that beautiful transition when we went online. There were a few people that were our anchor panelists for some time, and Voris was one of them. So Voris, if you'd like to say some words, we'd be honored.
Sure. Can you hear me?
Mm-hmm.
It's very, very, very much a pleasure to be here. And I appreciate being in your presence. I met Dana at the Los Angeles Young Studies Center in the certificate program. And I was invited to the first Myth Salon meeting held at what was then the comfortable and intimate home of both him and his partner, Michelle, in Santa Monica. And as I was there from the beginning, there's much I can say about Dana in the Myth Salon. But however, and given what you said earlier, Will, appropriately, I choose to focus on one detail involving Dana, his chiming of the singing bowl to inaugurate the gatherings. That ringing for me was vital, resonant, and so very meaningful. Like Dana himself, it settled me, moved me, opened me up. It sculpted a kind of a way station to myth, to more people and more possibilities. I just loved it every time he did it. And to transformation. The fact that I'm a professor of both English and Black study suggests something much about me. It's about my ability to occupy contradiction, my refusal to allow my Blackness to be reduced to mere difference, to mere culture. Fortunately, with Dana, I was blessed because with Dana, I didn't have to occupy contradiction. He was open, genuine, and in all his contradictions, fully human. Yet, in this highly racialized, polarized United States, we're borrowing from the poet Yeats, things are falling apart, the center cannot hold, and seemingly everywhere, the ceremony of innocence is lost and drowned. The best lacked all conviction, while the worst are full of passionate intensity. But yet, I trusted Dana. I trusted his nature. I failed to lack a whole, a center that is much more difficult for me to hold because in his bodily form, not in the spiritual, but in his bodily form, Dana is no longer with us, and he's no longer with me. That makes me tremble, and it makes me gasp. As for me, he was one of the best who spoke, wrote, and lived with passion and intensity. I'll miss him and the possibilities he embodied and inspired. Thanks for this opportunity. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, Boris. So good to see you.
Good to see you.
I think I better just keep bringing people in to just keep wave after wave. And Diane, Travis Teague, it would be wonderful if you'd like to come in and say a few things.
Good evening, everyone. I met Dana shortly after I began my career at Pacifica Graduate Institute. I called Dana after Stephen Eisenstadt had suggested that Dana might be a great person as we endeavored to build an alumni association. Many of you will remember that Dana and Michelle hosted for 8 years an annual event called the PGIAA Southern California Gathering. I am so grateful to have been Dana's friend in life and will continue to be his friend in death, honoring him in all I do. Let us grieve for the bond that we shared and the bonds that we did not have an opportunity to form since Dana passed way too soon. I would like to share with you an excerpt from the incomparable Maya Angelou, When Great Trees Fall. When great souls die, the air around us becomes light, rare, sterile. We breathe slowly, our eyes briefly see with a hurtful clarity. Our memory sharpen, examines, gnaws on kind words, promised walks never taken. Great souls die, our reality, bound to them, takes leave of us. Our souls depend upon their nurture, now shrink. Our minds formed and informed by their radiance falls away. We are not so much maddened and reduced to the utterable ignorance, dark, cold caves. And when great souls die, after period, peace blooms, slowly and always, irregularly, spaces filled with a kind of soothing electric vibration. Our senses are restored, never to be the same. Whisper to us, they existed, they existed. We can be and be better, for they existed. Michelle, for you and for many of us, Dana's gone from our sight, but never from our hearts. Our thoughts and prayers are with you. I wish you healing and peace, and I hope you feel surrounded by much love. Lastly, for all of us, friendship transcends death. The memories we made with Dana will never be forgotten. They have created a lasting impression on all of us. Everyone became a better person for having such a wonderful friend. Blessings and love to Dana as he journeys home. Thank you, Will.
Thank you. And thank you for those early Myth Salons, those early years and later, but you know, when you're just a spark and you're trying to become a candle flame and you're trying to become a log, it's the earliest breath on that small flame that's really precious. And you were there to support the Myth Salon from the beginning and with the Pacifica Alumni Association. And for that reason, you're a big part of why the Myth Salon exists. And I just want to say that tonight. So thank you. Speaking of people that I should thank for the Myth Salon existing, I want to invite Dara to say a couple words. Dara, are you with us?
She's on mute.
Great.
Oh, you know, this is such an amazing experience. Thank you so much, Will, for putting all of this together and everyone who contributed to this. Even just starting out, this is, it's an inspiration on how to live. This is Dana's legacy to us, and this is what we're all sharing tonight. And, you know, I was just thinking that one of the first things I learned at Pacifica in my earliest classes was the concept of both and. And I think here we are tonight with something so sad and yet so wonderful. And Dennis, thank you also for the both and for kindness and sorrow that you invoke for this meeting tonight, and the concept of shadow and friend. And that's our Dana now. He is our shadow and our friend. And I will just say a few words about how this started, because it goes to who Dana is. And with Brother Will here, I have to say, it was a conversation, and it was saying, you know, so much brilliance and excitement and wonderfulness passes through Pacifica. And we all just experienced the depth of it with our colleagues, and how everyone came at this in such an unusual way. And we just can't we just pull it in? I mean, it was really kind of as simple as that. Isn't there a way to hold on to this and to help us share all the work that we are individually doing and taking out into the world, and see what new work can blossom out of that? And it certainly has been happening. And I just can't thank you enough, Will, and my heart to Dana. I was thinking, as it was getting off to kind of a rough start, that that there was you know, a little trickster energy going on, because again, you know, Dana really made it look so easy, and I think it's much harder than it looks. And it really speaks to what I hope our legacy can be for Dana going forward, is to keep building this. I mean, I think that we have started something wonderful, and I agree with you. I don't want to make this big shiny object out there. I like the fact that we are holding this close, but I think it speaks to the fact that besides you, Will, I think we all need to contribute more to make this sustainable. And I certainly would like to be a part of that, because, you know, this is just the ground floor of something that can go to the world, and really, we sure need it right now. And this is, you know, we hold a lot sacred that can get splattered out into the world as bad, evil, wrong, but maybe there is a both and there that we can also hold. So anyway, that was the seed of it. And I just have to quickly, I just have a few words I would like to say to Michelle. Michelle, I was very, very fortunate to be part of Dana's cohort. And there's a bunch of us that are here tonight. And I just want to share to you that that we knew Dana before he met and married you. So we knew pre-Dana, pre-Michelle, and we knew excuse me, pre-Michelle and post-Michelle with Dana. And Dana was one of those people who we had such a great cohort, and Dana just stood out from the very first day, and he was so special, and it just helped us form a nucleus and a core of something just wonderful that just kept growing and growing. And but after he met you, I just want to tell you, we knew him before, and then we knew him after he met you. And he just, you know, Dana was one of those people who tried not to make a big deal out of anything, just gonna roll with it. But I will tell you, once he met you, his life just opened so beautifully. And just love you so much. And I was so fortunate to get to spend a lot of time with Dana when he was in our area, and you were always central to our conversations. And just thank you and bless you. And I just love you.
I love you, Dara.
Thank you.
Well, this is Rita. May I say something?
Rita, I do have a time. I do have a time for you to say something.
Oh, okay.
Take it away, Rita.
I have for everybody who'd like to say something, everyone will would like to say something will have a chance.
Okay.
Absolutely. There's a group of some people like Dara who are part of this thing launching, and
Sure.
but you're on, yes. And I want to say too, this is like even you wanting to say something is so you being you in this sauce that we are, and Dara wanting to talk about the future of the Myth Salon and the yes we can, and that is like the note that Dara's been hitting with every project I've brought to her since the first conversation. And so I'm just sitting back and I'm just, not just hearing these words, but seeing these essences showing up for Dana, and it's so beautiful. And Dara, I do want to honor that you have volunteered to continue to support whatever's going to happen next. And since you brought it up, I'll say that later I'll say a little bit, but really today we're going to say very little about what might be next, and we'll stay focused in today, but there will be something, and there have been many people that have come forward that want to make sure that that continues, and it's a very beautiful gift. And Corinne, who I'd like to ask to say something next, is another one of them, who's also been so supportive with pulling focus and with many events. And if anybody would like to be supportive and involved later, I'll please do reach out. And I also want to make sure everyone knows that if anything that anybody says in this text thread, I will be saving and rereading in 30 years when it matters to me even more. So please do share there too. Corinne.
Okay, wow, he had to have me follow Dara. Thanks. Anyways, I'm going to just, all I can say is what a beautiful, soulful, amazing man who I just love so much. I've cried more in the past month than I think in the past 10 years, but I want to say something positive. I want to just tell a story that kind of encapsulates everything about the Myth Salon and Dana. And so Dana used to come down and stay at her house. I'd fight with Dara, arm wrestle with her, who got to have him stay at our house when Ojai. He stayed with us so much that I renamed our back guest house the Dana White Suite. And so there's one particular recent evening he came that just kind of surmises everything. He brought, as usual, a beautiful bottle of wine. My husband made a gorgeous dinner. We sat outside by the pool. It was beautiful. And he said, put the wine bottle down and said, let's start planning some Myth Salons right after dinner ended, which was like around 7. And we went like that. Oh, what about eco-psychology? What about this? Oh, we're going to do something for the Academy Awards. And Maria has a new book out. Oh, and we're going to do Maria. And what about Louis Schwartzberg on gratitude? My husband said, it was like watching a Fellini movie. He said he has never seen so much hand and action in this. And he finally said he politely got up and left. And he came back 3.5 hours. Dana had a grid. He had a grid, and we had this and we had that. And he said, I'm going to start turning the lights off. It's almost midnight and you have to work tomorrow. So anyways, we ended our evening and I went into my room and I said, my heart has never been fuller. That beautiful man, he's back in the Dana White Suite. We've planned all these salons. This is what life is about. And that is my dearest memory of Dana, except for one other quick one. When he said he was, I have to just throw this in because when he said he was moving up to Santa Cruz, I had driven around LA and I was having the worst day of my life. And I stopped at his house to go visit him before he moved. And I walked into his living room and sat down and burst into tears because he was moving. And he said, but it was really, I had a bad day too. But he said, Corinne, thank you so much. That's so meaningful to me. But anyways, these are my little Dana tidbits that I will just remember forever, especially that beautiful dinner and all the planning and everything. I think about him every day, and I love him so much, so much.
Thank you. Thank you. Gosh, I'm so grateful for the people that he didn't just bring into my life, but thickened my relationships. I was actually looking for Connie Zweig, who I don't see, so I just want to express gratitude to Connie Zweig. For some of you may not know, Connie also would make some of these spreadsheets with us, and she would send us all these things. Hey, what about this person? What about this person? And she would help us reach out and help us fill out our schedules, especially in those years when we were doing 21 events or 25 events a year. So I want to thank Connie. And Gard, are you around with us? I know you're a dear friend and have just supported in ways I think not everyone knows. It would be great to hear from you.
Yeah, I'm here, and I just want to tip my hat to Michelle and bow to you, my friend. I have been in mourning with you. So, like Dara, like David, like Catherine, like Raina, we were in the same cohort. And I want to bow to Stephen, who made all that possible, and to Patrick, and to Dennis, and to Chris Downing, and to Jeanette Perry, who were just the most extraordinary professors one could ever think of. I mean, so Stephen, thank you. And then Dana, as some of you know, and I have walked the path for the last 25 years. After graduating from Pacifica, we've done 5 books together. And it wasn't just books, was it, Michelle? It was travel. So Dana and Michelle went to India to do some investigation around the Ramayana and the Bhagavad Gita. And Dana and I went to Switzerland, to Bollingen, to the tower. We went to the house. We met the grandsons. And I will tell you, Michelle, you have a lot of empathy from me, because I had to sleep in the same room as Dana, and he liked to snore. But Dana, for me, I was thinking about this as we were getting on, and the person who comes to mind is the Baal Shem Tov. And the Baal Shem Tov said, from each person, a light extends from their heart to heaven. And I think what Dana did is he brought all of our lights together, like the Baal Shem Tov did, to create a community, which is the greatest gift, in my opinion, that any of us could ever have, is the community that this man, my brother, my friend, and I'm as sure of seeing him again, Michelle, as I am sure that I'm talking to you right now. That this is a journey of community that doesn't stop here. It continues. And so the first book we did, as my brother Dennis knows, was on Phaethon. And Dennis wrote the foreword to it. Thank you, Dennis. And I would just quote Ovid, who said, my soul sings of metamorphosis. And so Dana has just shapeshifted. He's moved to another vehicle. He's moved to another room in the house. And I believe he had a great laugh, Will, as he was watching us try to do what he did so easily. And I also think of the great philosopher Nat King Cole and the song Nature Boy. Dana was the nature boy. Dana was the nature boy. And Dana was constantly trying to draw each of us into the conversation of the greatest lesson we'll ever learn, which is just how to love and be loved in return. And Dana and I, we went to China together, we went to India together, we went to Switzerland together, we went to Russia together to do the work of Nicholas Roerich and his paintings and the Peace Pilgrim project, looking at the spiritual journey. And Dana was my teacher. Dana was my co-pilot. And I will be forever grateful to this shaman, to this rishi, to this shunsa, to this sage named Dana White. Bless you, Dana.
Thank you, Gard.
Thank you.
You evoked the teachers, some of our teachers, and I was hoping Patrick might say something next.
Hello, everybody. First, I got an email about 2 hours ago from Glenn Slater, who was very much hoping to be a part of this, but he got his flight delayed, and he asked me if he couldn't make it to express his very deep appreciation for Dana, his work, and his love of soul. You know, Dana, it was a great pleasure for me to be the chair of his dissertation committee, and a great joy to become a very close friend after that, and a colleague too, because he was my go-to person when it came to dissertation committees. I think we served on at least 15 of them together. The Dana I knew and befriended was a very dimensional human being. I thought of him as a Renaissance person. His interests were wide and deep. He embraced the study of mythology, depth psychology, music, art, and other forms of culture. He was also interested in nature, as Gard has just said, and its relationship to the psyche. And this is why I think he resonated so deeply with Taoism. When he was preparing a book on the Tao Te Ching, he asked me to write a foreword for it, and I was very happy to do so. And when I wrote it, I found myself thinking much more about him than the actual text. And on this occasion, I'd like to read some of what I wrote in that as a way of celebrating his life. We are fortunate to live at a time when the great classics of Eastern religions have become widely available in the West by virtue of translations made by specialist scholars of particular traditions. The meaning of these texts, however, often eludes those who are not academically trained. Even academics often fail to receive the wisdom that is contained in them. What we need, in my view, is not only good translations, but the transmission of the spirit of the text in forms that resonate with our time, place, and lives. Writers who transmit the deepest meanings of wisdom texts exhibit a rare sensibility comprised by deep listening, contemplative musing, and the capacity to integrate the ideas into the fabric of their daily lives. Dana White was that kind of writer. While he is a scholar in the fields of mythology, religious studies, and depth psychology, what matters most to him is how that knowledge can make us better human beings, authentic individuals who live harmoniously with others and the environment. He exemplifies what religious studies scholar Jeffrey Kripal refers to as hermeneutical mysticism, a practice of reading, interpreting, and writing by which readers come to experience the religious dimensions of the texts that they study, dimensions that somehow crystallize or linguistically embody the forms of consciousness of their original authors. A kind of initiatory transmission can occur between the reader and the text. Reading becomes a transformative practice. And I would add, it does more. When a person writes a book that articulates what one has understood in this way, it can facilitate the same kind of experience in other readers. In addition, that state of consciousness, be it a deep insight or feeling of inspiration, can become an enduring, altered trait of a person's character. This is precisely what Dana White's rendering of the Tao Te Ching offers. Reading his version of the text can, I think, refine the way we live, engage others, and relate to nature. There are several features of his rendering of the Tao Te Ching that make it accessible and attractive. Dana explains how Jung understood synchronicity, the meaningful connection of psyche and nature, as the phenomenon that best exemplifies the nature of the Tao for Westerners. Another useful feature was the wealth of images that accompanied the 81 verses of his manuscript. His introduction establishes the ambience and the attitude needed to properly receive the text. He tells us, for instance, that an interpreter must listen to the Tao for the nature and wisdom of the text to come forth. We too must do the same as we read the text. Thus he advises, and I quote him, "Listen to the Tao, be still, and release the essence that connects the Tao with your being. End quote. Dana's advice is reminiscent of observations made by two great sages, one from the East and one more recently from the West. The medieval Zen master Dogen expressed it this way, quote, "To study the way is to study the self. To study the self is to forget the self. To forget the self is to be awakened by all things." The same realization is conveyed by Jung in his memoir. Quote again, "There is so much that fills me, plants, animals, clouds, day and night, and the eternal in man. The more uncertain I have felt about myself, the more there has grown up in me a feeling of kinship with all things." This is the attitude Dana hopes we may embrace as we are nourished by the wisdom of the Tao Te Ching. He is inviting us to dissolve our narrow sense of identity and to embrace our intimate connection to the great web of life. Dana has performed many roles in his life: son, father, spouse, media producer, editor, administrator, teacher, mentor, and more. If we fully mature as we traverse the life cycle, as psychotherapist Connie Zweig explains, we may move from role to soul and become spiritual elders. I've witnessed Dana make that developmental transition with grace and serenity. He embodies the wondrous curiosity of the child and the wisdom of the sage. During the 20 plus years I've known and worked with Dana and been his friend, I've witnessed his self-cultivation manifested in his hospitality, generosity, and humility. He is an unpretentious scholar who delights in sharing ideas with others. Writing the book was for Dana a labor of love. He offers it to us with the heartfelt wish that we may learn to live our lives more authentically and in greater harmony with the Tao. So this forward to Dana's unpublished book exemplifies, I believe, what his life was all about. He lived what I've just tried to put into words here. He lived it authentically, joyously, and generously. May those of us who knew him and loved him pay those qualities forward in our relationship with others and our engagement with the world. Bless you, Dana. I'm sending you my love, and I'm sending it to you too, Michelle.
Gosh, I miss listening to you talk, Patrick. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you for putting that together for all of us. That was so beautiful. And I hope that y'all will connect at the end of the night. The last thing we're going to do is we're going to share a recording from that translation of the Tao. So we'll actually end tonight there. And I think, interestingly, the only person I can imagine going next is our poet friend Zaman, poet mystic Zaman. Zaman, are you here? Well, we'll give him a check. Yeah, there you are, Zaman. Would you like to say something? You're on mute. There we are.
I was trying to unmute myself, and I don't know why. Because in many ways, silence expresses a lot more than any word that I can think of. I knew from some time back Dana and Michelle through UCLA, where we had a Rumi class. And the two of them would come and sit right there in the front row. So attentive, like if their life depended on whatever nonsense I was teaching. But I think Dana was the kind of person that no matter from which window of opportunity you enter into his life, that relationship will turn into a friendship. I think he's the epitome of friendship and being friend, and the way he used to say it, my friend, you would really feel like he meant it. I've been saying to someone a few days ago, like, I don't believe in death. I think it's one of those things that we have inherited from us, many of our traditions. If our true being is in our spirit, then the spirit as a non-physical entity cannot be subjected to the physicality of dying. So we have a foreverness of our own. And I think if we think of this as traversing a veil to another realm of reality, and we can dialogue with that reality, whatever we want to call it. But I would reflect on that, a dialogue of that sort, like in the name of the paracosmic consciousness, whose oneness of being pins the verses of perpetually unfolding multiplicities, whose essence weaves into every fiber of our existence as the wholeness of immeasurable, timeless tomorrows. All praise is due to the infinite eternity, whose love radiates through our soul, whose glory graces every grain of our being, and whose awe paints our fragile illusions. O divine beloved, the ineffable shaper of transient temporalities and transcendent realities, give us the thought that thinks thee. Grant us a pleading heart that desires thee, a yearning that utters nothing but your love. Turn us into a longing that dies to dissolve in the harmonic convergence of your totality. Help us thread our pathways through the splendor of your enchanting gardens and idyllic meadows, where moments of your manifest beauty attain a foreverness all their own. Distance us from the dissonance of dark energy. Bathe us in the luminous glow of your countenance, light upon light upon light. That is the bridge of light that we can traverse over to the other side. And I don't know if there is the term other that would apply to one side or the other. It's all the same side. Thank you, and bless you, Dana.
Thank you, Zaman. Raina, are you with us? We'd love for you to say something.
Yeah, hi, I'm
Hi.
here. I've just been transported into the transcendent realms, and so grateful for everyone being here. It's very emotional for me, so so grateful. So I'm going to go from the transcendent to the really personal, my personal experience of my friendship with Dana and what it means to me. And it's clear from this gathering that Dana was really good at community and at friendship. And it's also really clear that Dana had real devotion for myth. And what I also want to talk about personally, of course, is his kindness, which is a word that's come up so much tonight. And thank you, Dennis, for choosing that magnificent poem. That was the perfect poem for tonight, I think. And I think Dana would love it. He does. I was really the recipient of his kindness, and it significantly affected the course of my life, truly, for the better. Dana and I met in the fall of 1998. We were in the same cohort as we started the Mythological Studies program at the Pacifica Graduate Institute, and with Dara and Gard and David Huff. And 1 year later, while I was in school, I was going through a divorce. And it was really extremely difficult, to say the least. And I remember sitting at the bottom of the stairs at his house in Santa Monica next to Dana, which is where the Myth Salon started. And I just kind of fell apart. And Dana just sat with me quietly listening, and he was so very kind, and I felt so understood, and I felt safe, which is what I needed at that time. He also had this ability to respond kindly even when someone was challenging him, which I did a couple of times. And instead of getting defensive or trying to dismiss it, he would listen, and he would take it to heart and make some changes. And it was amazing for me to witness someone so effortlessly taking responsibility for their own actions, and so generously. I wasn't used to that. It wasn't that way in my family. No one took responsibility for anything they did. So it was really so moving for me. And finally, when Dana became very briefly, the Dean of Education at the Art Institute back in 2002, he managed to hire a couple of us as teachers. And that job changed my life. I taught myth and symbol, and I taught magic and ritual there for close to 17 years. And when I started, I was recently divorced. I was broke. I thought, I'm going to lose my home. I have to quit the myth program. And although I had some other part-time jobs as adjunct faculty at Pacifica, the Philosophical Research Society, and studio school, that is the job that saved me, the one Dana got me back in 2002. It truly, changed the course of my life. And when I say that Dana had a huge impact on the course of my life, I mean it really quite literally. And he will just forever have a place in my heart. And my heart also goes out to you, Michelle. Thank you so much for this.
Will, you're muted.
Thank you, Raina, and thank you for bringing in that chapter, so that everyone knows about that chapter where he was a department chair and a leader and dean at the Art Institute, and brought in Pacifica graduates to teach artists, really meaningful thing. And then I would develop a friendship with one of your students who would later go to Pacifica. And speaking of Pacifica, Steve Eisenstadt is here with us. I wonder if you'd like to say a few words.
Yeah, thank you, Will. What's moving through me right now, Dana, sharing this with you directly, is what's happening here and now. We're in community and the sense of being home. Here now in a home place. And what you offered when I was journeying to Santa Monica, Michelle, Dana, how you hosted us in conversation, in the beauty of what it meant to be in community, in heartfelt contact with one another. Dana, I will never forget the quality of care, your tenderness. Michelle, how the two of you brought people together and with such abundance and heartfelt, yes, indeed, with heartfelt joy, welcomed us. I mean, honestly, it was hard to get us to leave. Is the truth of it. It was so great to be in conversation and to be present with one another in Santa Monica. And I'll never forget when Diane invited me the first time, Santa Monica. There's something so resonant for me. And that's right when I was 19, 20 years old. I would teach at the Santa Monica High School and then also at the junior high, now in middle school. And it was so extraordinary as to what it meant to just be blocks away from the home place that really started the seed, the generative spark that really evolved into one day being Pacifica Graduate Institute. And there I was again. It was so extraordinary. And Dana, thank you so much for all that you've done for us, for bringing the work of Pacifica, the soul body of Pacifica, into the world, to bring the vision into the actuality of being in community. And I'm just so deeply aware of how, in the world of today, being in community like we are here and now is a blessing and so helpful and useful and essential for all of us. So Dana, thank you so much, man. I will remember you forever. You are an inspiration to me. And Michelle, thank you for opening your heart and your home to us.
I can tell you, Steve, the pleasure was ours. It was so fun to have so many people there, and you in particular, and many others in particular too.
Yeah, I so appreciate you. Thank you.
Thank you, Steve. Thank you. And thank you for all the support, yeah, it's just wild to see who's here coming to show their respects for Dana. Someone else that I believe I saw here, I was hoping might say something. Maria, are you still here? Yeah, would you like to say something?
Of course I'm here. And I have to start by saying that I'm a weeper. So I've been trying unsuccessfully to hold back tears as I listen to all of these stories. People who have known Dana for years and years. And my story is a little shorter because I only met him a few years ago. It happens that I'm in LA, in Santa Monica, breathing the very air that I breathed when I first met Dana and had lunch with him and sat on a little deck in Malibu and, really felt the energy, the joy, the love that he radiates. And I'm just so grateful that I had the chance then to join panels and be in conversation with many of you here and be part of this extraordinary community. Since my time with him was short, I'm also going to be short. I want to say there are 3 words that I always think of with Dana. One is sound, soul, and also song. Sound. I said that I was a weeper, and whenever I went to a Myth Salon, the sound always, and I think I mentioned this to you, Will, that why did tears come in my eyes when I heard that? And I think it was because in the reverberations was also soul. That is, there was something so powerful about that. And then the poetry, the song, the poem, the way that things metamorphosed, they changed into the verbal arts, communication, knowledge, the value of knowledge, of passing along stories, all of those things. And I think it's no coincidence that this afternoon, as I was thinking about Dana, I too thought of Maya Angelou's poem, When Great Trees Fall. And since you've heard the poem already, I just want to read the last strophe because it's so meaningful to me. When great souls die, after a period, peace blooms, slowly and always irregularly. Spaces fill with a kind of soothing, electric vibration. Our senses restored, never to be the same, whisper to us, they existed. They existed. We can be, and be better, for they existed. That just captures so much for me about how Dana changed all of us. Thank you, Will, for arranging this and letting us speak.
Thank you, Maria. And to everyone who's thinking about when are they, having something that's precious to say, this is that check-in moment for me to say, there will be time. Anyone who wants to say anything is going to get to say anything they want to say. And if I'm the last one here at 3 a.m., that's the truth. Although I will say we're going faster than I anticipated. And I think we're getting close to the last few that I knew were prepared to say something. So we may even be within our 2 hours, but I just want to say that for anybody who might begin to be feeling anxious, am I going to get to say my thing? Like 1000%. Thank you, Maria. And now I'm thinking about, that's so funny. I would say that after you, when one of the things I've learned from you is the importance of finding voice for the heroine. So the voice is there for everyone. Will have an opportunity. Clyde, I think I see you here. Would you like to say something?
Thank you, Will. Like Maria, my time with Dana was short. And in some ways, I feel like Dana brought me out of retirement, Dana and Connie. Almost 30 years ago, I had done some work in African mythology. And Dana and Connie asked me if I would join with the Myth Salon to present that. I've been thinking all day about what I would say, and what really came to me is an understanding of death that came to me through the study of African mythology. And in the mythologies of Africa that I know best, death is simply another journey. It's often represented as a journey to a kingdom under the water or under the land, in which our hero or heroine then has these marvelous adventures and eventually finds a way to bring whatever they've discovered back to us. I can't think of anybody better prepared for that journey than Dana. And I can't wait, as I know he will be there, to share with us all that he has discovered in however we then bring it forward in this community that he helped to create. I don't know what more I can say other than I am so very grateful that he came into my life several years ago, and that my life is that much richer because of it. Thank you.
Thank you, Clyde. And thank you for coming in and doing this Myth Salon with us. You've been a really important part of the space that we've stretched and made together. And Dana, by the way,
going forward too.
Yes,
So,
please. And speaking of that, Clyde, a special little Dana Clyde Chris Holmes story who's coming up. Dana helped us reach Clyde when we needed to reach Clyde so that we could use a quote from that book he just referenced, Here with an African Face, in a piece called The Visionary Experience, a psychedelic mixtape that's one of the things Dana was excited to come to, a premiere that we were excited to invite him for, that we'll invite all of y'all to come see this piece as well. But that was really special, and it's really special that you contributed a quote to that piece, and that Dana served as the actual conduit to get that put together. So we'll look forward to sharing that with everyone. John Booker, I see you here. You've been just so consistently there for the Myth Salon, and forgive me for anybody. I've just been trying to get out of the way and just keep getting to the next person and not to say cheesy things in the middle of everything. But John, thank you for being here. You've been so consistently supportive from one stage to the next. So if you'd like to say something, we'd be honored.
Thanks, Will. It really is an honor to be here and to be with all of you. I met Dana through Will, and I remember the afternoon that Will said, "John, do you know who Dana White is?" And I thought he was talking about the CEO of Ultimate Fighting Championships, Dana White. And so I said, yeah. He said, Dana is really, really knowledgeable about the I Ching. And again, I thought he was talking about this great wrestler, this fighting championship guy. And I said, Will, I would have never guessed that. And Will and I had this conversation for probably 20 minutes before I realized that I did not know this man that Will was talking about. And finally, when I did realize it, I recognized that I really have to meet this person that Will is so impressed with. And I can honestly say, when I met and got to know the Dana White that we're here to honor tonight, I met someone far greater than the CEO of Ultimate Fighting Championships. I met a man who had impact on eternity far beyond what the more famous Dana White might ever know. And Dana and I used to really enjoy talking about the ideas of Joseph Campbell, and having become the executive director of the Joseph Campbell Foundation, I often got a chance to talk to Dana about Campbell's work and his ideas. And after I learned of Dana's passing, I was reminded of an interview that Joseph Campbell gave shortly before he passed. And I just wanted to read to you something that Joseph Campbell said in this interview shortly before he passed away. Campbell said, "There comes a time, and I think it comes naturally in people as they reach a certain age, of shifting the identification from the vehicle to the consciousness. You begin to see the body as a frail vehicle. You think of all it's missing. Once you've got that idea, you can drop off the vehicle. The consciousness isn't worried." To talk personally, I've had a very, very rewarding life. I've had what the Indians call the fruits of my life. I think tonight, as I look around this screen at this Zoom room, in a way, I think all of us here tonight are fruits of Dana's life. And we're here as having been impacted deeply by an incredible, incredible man. Michelle, our thoughts are with you, and we are so, so thankful that we got the opportunity to know and experience Dana White. Thanks, Will.
Thank you, John. Yeah, I'm so moved, and we are fruits of Dana's life. And I look around and I see, just we're not doing the introductions tonight. You normally see me stumble over paragraphs of introduction per person, but I'll just say, in the last just few moments, y'all have heard from the head of the Joseph Campbell Foundation, the founder of Pacifica, former head of mythology at Harvard, head of mythology at Pacifica, and on. And these are the people that I think many of us wish were writing on the back of our books, and they're here to respect Dana and to honor his life. And I think that one of the most beautiful things, one of the ways that we can all see Dana tonight, is just to see who's coming, who's here. The sages of world mythology are here for Dana. That's so cool and so amazing. We'll have to keep getting together. And Jacqueline, I hope now you'll show a video for us, and then we'll continue to hear from more people.
All right, here we go.
It's not going from the start right now. It's going from the middle.
Oh yeah, no, that's okay, Chris. We're gonna come back and play the first half at the end.
Time present and time past are both perhaps present in time future, and time future contained in time past. If all time is eternally present, all time is unredeemable. What might have been is an abstraction, remaining a perpetual possibility only in a world of speculation. What might have been and what has been point to one end which is always present. Footfalls echo in the memory, down the passage which we did not take, towards the door we never opened into the rose garden. My words echo thus in your mind, but to what purpose? Disturbing the dust on a bowl of rose leaves, I do not know. Other echoes inhabit the garden. Shall we follow? Quick, said the bird, find them, round the corner, through the first gate, into our first world. Shall we follow the deception of the thrush? Into our first world. There they were, dignified, invisible, moving without pressure over the dead leaves, in the autumn heat, through the vibrant air, and the bird called, in response to the unheard music hidden in the shrubbery, and the unseen eye-beam crossed, for the roses had the look of flowers that are looked at. There they were, as our guests, accepted and accepting. So we moved, and they, in a formal pattern, along the empty alley into the box circle, to look down into the drained pool. Dry the pool, dry concrete, brown edge, and the pool was filled with water out of sunlight, and the lotus rose, quietly, quietly. The surface glittered out of heart of light, and they were behind us, reflected in the pool. Then a cloud passed, and the pool was empty. Go, said the bird, for the leaves were full of children, hidden excitedly, containing laughter. Go, 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 said the bird. Humankind cannot bear very much reality. Time past and time future, what might have been and what has been, point to one end, which is always present.
Chris, you want to tell us what we just saw?
Sure. So Dana, I'm so happy to be here with everybody. There's so many incredible people that I've met on this screen through Will and Dana, and it's changed my life. Will and I came together. I studied mythology in college, and our friend connected us, and we started talking about the art that I was making and my want to build a community of artists and mythologists that could help people at a time when everybody is stuck in a constant state of fight or flight and an ego, transcend that by using technology and mythology to show the universality of this message. And Dana was so incredibly warm and welcoming. Like everybody has said, he immediately became a champion of the project and would call me with ideas of who I should work with and different ways that we could get this thing going. And how excited he was to see mythology in a space that could reach non-mythologists and really, you know, be something that could be an activation, much like we heard earlier with the hermeneutics of all of it. It's a process where in learning about it, you experience it. But Dana was such a kind man, and he came over several times, and I would strap headsets on him, and he was my beta tester with Will. And one of the first times he was at my house, he was telling me how great of a concept it would be to take 4 quartets by T.S. Eliot and create a transformational narrative mixtape with that. And you know, talked about how it was his favorite poem and what it meant to him. And so it was one of the first tests I did for Dana to see if this stuff could work. And I found an original voice recording of T.S. Eliot speaking it and used AI to clean it up a little bit. And then filmed in my brother's gardens in Santa Cruz by where Dana lived, and looked out over his house from my brother's garden. But over the last 3 years, Dana and I and Will and John and Maria and, you know, Clyde and Zalman and, you know, so many people have influenced this process. And, you know, it's really such an honor to be a part of it and be connected to this group of wonderful minds and beautiful hearts. And you know, it's changed the course of my life, and to be as accepted as someone who studied undergrad mythology, to just full force get behind it and bring me in along with Will and John just meant the world to me. And you know, I will think of Dana's kindness and his open heart in every process of this. And you know, as said before, if anybody knows the pathway to transformation and connection to that unitive state, Dana had studied it over and over again. And so one of the other things that we did was in his beautiful version of the Tao, we created a mixtape with this is Tao number 23, which was the basis for George Harrison's All Things Must Pass, which was a foundational part of our piece that we were working on. And again, it's filmed in my brother's garden in Santa Cruz, and it is it's a process where you can only see the movement in the nature. It's a still, it's a field recording, and everything's evolving. And so this is very much, you see the life and the beauty of the underlying nature in this, along with Dana's beautiful words that he wrote in his translation.
And I wanted to let everyone know, just to be sure, it's like so beautiful. I thought it would be what we would end the evening with. So that beautiful poem, All Things Must Pass, and this art piece. So I'm glad you set it up now, Chris.
And I want to invite everybody that's on this Zoom to be a part of Fascinated by Everything and be our curators in this and really help build what Dana had started. We're dedicating the entire piece to him because his vision was so foundational for us. And you know, the idea is to bring the wisdom that you guys have gained and help share those stories to people in a way that connects to, you know, non-egoic consciousness and can lead them on their journeys. So with that, Will, I'll let you. But thank you so much for listening to me and letting me share my love of Dana.
Well, thanks for making time between your tour with Paul McCartney. And many of y'all don't know Chris, but he's been Paul's opening act for 15 plus years, and we only lucky that it lined up just for a few days that he's on break from tour. So thank you, Chris. And this is that part of the night where we now begin to open it up with people, to even more of us. And one person I know that I'd like to start this section with is David.
Real quick. I put a link to the full video in the chat because it's buffering a lot, so people can experience the full thing and share it on social media to honor Dana. And thanks again.
Absolutely. And by the way, like, might not have realized that those pieces also are part of a world that is also in virtual reality. This art relates to virtual worlds and domes and immersive experiences. And what you're seeing is a version that's formatted for your 2D screen. David, are you here? We'd love to hear from you.
Hey, Will. Hey, everybody. So first of all, kudos to all of you all for putting this together. Dana, Michelle, correct me if I'm wrong, but Dana really would have enjoyed this evening, having all these people come out and sharing their stories about how they knew him and who he was. He would be buzzing for days after this. Michelle, love you. To Dana's sons, Mike and Andy, love you guys. I'm going to get teary here in a minute. Like my beautiful Pacifica cohort colleagues in arms there in the myth world, we met all together back in 1998. So I've been traveling with Dana for a long time, traveling with him now. Dana was going to be coming out here to visit me this spring in North Carolina. We were going to spend a week hiking in the trails out here. And I start out by sharing that because Dana was, like many of you have said, this amazing Renaissance guy. You know, he saw no boundaries. He was out there. So this sort of psychedelic California juju stuff you all are creating is so Dana and so Pacifica and so you all. But most of my travels with Dana was on the ground, the literal ground, the being in Yosemite, walking by the Pacific Ocean, drinking really good wine, eating good cheese, eating good food, sort of that in the body side of Dana, which I loved and missed dearly. he was going to come out here this spring and spend a week with me when my dad became very ill and my dad was getting ready to die. So I lost my dad in July, and then I've lost Dana. And many of you all know that out here in Western North Carolina, we had this thing called Helene come through and devastate our part of the country in a way that folks have not really seen before. And I was sharing this with Dana before he died, and I miss sharing this with him now because many of y'all know that water was important to Dana. He was a very water spirit, and he saw no boundaries. And I think that's why this community, Will, of all the myth folks, of all this Pacifica people, I mean, look at the variety of people who have come together this evening and others that couldn't be here tonight. That's who Dana was. He saw no boundaries. And I'll leave with this because I don't want to spend much more time. I want to hear from other people. But Dana had this thing called parking spaces. And what he believed was that a parking space would always present itself to him. And by goodness, he would always find the parking space, even in crowded Los Angeles and Santa Monica. Now, Michelle and I knew that he might drive around the block 4, 5, 6, 7, 10 times and spend a half an hour finding the parking space, but he would find it. And I think that's a lot of who Dana was. He would not see a problem. He would see an opportunity. He would break through barriers. And that's why his mind was that big and why his heart was so rich. And that's why all of us are here this evening from all of our walks of life. So peace to all of you all. Love, miss Dana, love Dana. He's not gone. He's living with us. So thank you, Will, for this time. Michelle, my dear sister, we'll be talking soon. Love you all. Thank you, Will.
Thank you. And I don't know why this feels like the time to share this one, but I have a feeling that you know this about Dana. You know that he was weird just before the full moon, huh?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, so he dies on the full moon. How about that?
Yeah. Yeah. Geez, man. It's like, anyway. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah. A lot of lunar energy there. Also, I'll just say some Hestia, a lot of Hestia I have to bring some myth in since I studied the stupid thing. But anyway, Hestia, right? A lot of that hearth and home and welcoming nature of Dana.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you. Rita, this is a time. Are you still here with us? We'd love to hear from you. Is Rita still here? Oh, there you are. Rita, we've got to get your mute.
I was being so good, keeping myself muted there. I wrote a few notes because I wasn't prepared before this. And I'm not sure I'm going to get time and dates correct, but I finished my coursework at Pacifica in 2003. And I live in Los Angeles, and I looked around and I couldn't figure out how to get in touch with any Pacifica people, like people, because you go up to Carpinteria and you're in another whole world. You're just held by myth and soul and everything. So I called Pacifica, and at that time they didn't have any alumni relations per se. So I said, well, if you get me a speaker, I'll find you a place. And they did. And then shortly after, my dear friend Diane Travis Teague was hired, and we've been working together for years and years and years. And I guess it's, I don't know, 20 some odd years, I guess. And I don't know when we found whatever we did, the barbecues at Dana's, but oh my God, that changed things. People were clamoring to come to these barbecues. I think we had over 50 people there at one time. How many do we ever have, Michelle? Was it up to 80? There was a lot.
Early.
There was a lot. And you had a picture earlier of Dana holding the tray of the barbecue, the salmon or whatever. And, that's how I guess. So I just remember that so much. I just wanted to tell you that I still have people asking me, when can we have a barbecue? When can we have a barbecue? Of course, things kind of fell apart during COVID. So we're getting back. And we've also lost a lot of contact with emails. That's the practical stuff that's the hardcore real world. You need emails. But anyway, we will be finding a place to meet again. And I just wanted you to know, both Will and Michelle, that I will support you always. I will be there for you. Being part of the Alumni Association, and I was just asked last week to be a member of the Alumni Board. So not only as a regional coordinator, but the Alumni Board, I know how to get myth information around. So I will definitely be supporting you. So send me your information, and love you guys. And I will always remember walking into that Santa Monica house and just being welcomed by Michelle, and just the enthusiasm of Will and all the guests there. And of course, Dana, and all of the great opportunities and his enthusiasm for myth and for people and for connection. I mean, it's all about connection, right? So, yeah, thank you. And thank you for all being here today. And thank you for inviting me.
Thank you, Rita. That means a lot. Your support has meant a lot for a long time, and we'll certainly come back to you whenever we figure out what's going to be next, which I'm intentionally avoiding for the moment. But thank you. There are a few on the list that have begun submitting their names, and I want to say anybody that would like to say something, please do send. Not that you'll miss your chance if you don't, but please do send your name into the chat, and I'm beginning to make a list of everyone else that would like to speak. And after Rita, Patricia, are you here? We'd love to hear from you.
Yes. Can you hear me?
Hi. Yes.
Well, I met Dana and Will in the Myth Salon at the beginning of the pandemic. And thank you all that made the Myth Salon possible, because you saved my sanity, my intellectual curiosity. And I was very happy when Dana joined a group that attend every week, the Mastery Circle. And that's when I got to learn, to know more about Dana. And I really admired his sense of community, his sense of inclusivity. But I noticed he was the silent alpha male, even though he has his feminine side, I was going to talk about the moon that you mentioned, how he could feel the changes of the moon in his own self. So I noticed he was our quiet sage in our group. And then he gave us a beautiful present of the Tao Te Ching that he made with Jonathan Staggers. So we watch one video every week that we meet. And one day when Thich Nhat Hanh died, he surprised me, inviting me to facilitate the meditation in the tribute that he was organizing. And I said, oh, I am an introvert. I said, oh, don't worry. This will go live. It will be in YouTube. We'll be there forever. I said, it's not helping me, but because you're asking me and because it's for Thich Nhat Hanh, I'll do it. And it was such an honor to participate in this tribute to Thich Nhat Hanh. And now I can't believe I'm participating in a tribute for Dana. But I wanted to mention that in antique Egypt, the Egyptians believed that humans had two deaths. One is the physical death, and the second death happens when people stop talking about a person. And I feel that Dana's light will live forever, that we'll keep talking about him for ages. Blessings to Dana, to Michelle, Mike, and Andrew. Thank you.
Thank you. And thank you for bringing in more of the Mastery Circle. I know that's an important community for Dana. Sunil, you're joining us all the way from India. It's been amazing that you've done that for us many times. Would love to hear what you have to say for Dana.
Namaste, Michelle and Will and all friends of Dana. A few years back, I think, life used to give us time to get accustomed with the idea that someone is leaving us. Dana's passing has been very painful to all of us because it was unexpected. It happened all of a sudden. When I remember Dana, what I remember is the clarity of intellect, the clarity of communication and discipline. So the way he presented himself, the way he conducted all these conversations, it was completely disciplined. And I think I feel that clarity, discipline, and that energy within us today. So Dana is not with us, but those things that he has shared are still with us. In our conversations, when we communicate with many scholars, there are always things like common references and common experiences. But my communication, whatever short conversations I had with Dana, our references were completely different. So he used to appreciate what I was sharing. At the same time, whatever references he mentioned were new to me. So passing of Dana leaves us with a regret that maybe there could have been more conversations. Maybe there was still a lot that I could have learned from him. So I think that gives us all a reminder that maybe we should communicate more. Even if there is no common topic, no agenda, we should communicate, and there is a lot we can learn from each other. So thank you, and I wish all the strength to Dana's family and friends. Thank you.
Thank you, Sunil. You brought up something that I wanted to bring up. Since you said it now, I want to echo it, that when somebody dies suddenly like this, there's a built-in message to it. That built-in message is cherish being together. Cherish your time while you have it. And it struck me powerfully and painfully when I realized how consistent that message, even of his death, was with Dana's life. Thank you, Sunil. Teria, would love for you to say a few words, please.
Hello, everyone. Thank you, Will, for doing this. I feel your spirit so much connected to Dana. It's almost like Dana is here with us. I feel it with you so much. And Michelle, I don't know you personally, but you've been so in my heart since I heard this news. And so I'm so sorry. I want to say Dana has had a huge impact on my life, and I've marveled at that. We were friends and knew each other somewhat, but when somebody, I think it was Raina, was talking about his era at the Art Institute of Los Angeles, and that was back in the late 90s. And Dana called me up, and he knew that I had been teaching on David Bohm, the theories of David Bohm, the physicist. I'd been teaching dialogue in a variety of venues, and Dana was the guy, the sort of genius guy, who said, I think you could teach all these theories in this college classroom under critical thinking. And it was such a sort of radical idea. I would have never thought to apply for that myself. But he said, why don't you come in and teach critical thinking, and you can teach all of Bohm's theories in this classroom. And I will say it was some of the most meaningful years and experiences of my life to teach in this, in Los Angeles. I mean, oh my gosh, the diversity of my classrooms there, people from every country and from Beverly Hills to the South Side. It was like everybody there, and teaching dialogue to these communities. And Dana made that happen. And he would come in sometimes into the classrooms and just smile while we were having these conversations. And so I so appreciated him for that. And then you all did a Myth Salon on the Bohm film, Infinite Potential. And so Dana called me in to be on that. And then Paul Howard, the filmmaker, called me up and asked me if I would be interviewed for his next film about Bohm. And so, because of Dana calling me in for that, it opened this other sort of door of opportunity. So it's like Dana was this sort of visionary door opener for me personally in these just powerful ways. Always so sweet, always so respectful. I so appreciated all of our conversations. And then this is something that's really interesting to me. Just like, I don't know, 3 weeks ago or before he died, he got in touch, and he was all excited because he knew that I was friends with this woman named Jocelyn Starfeather, who he developed this sort of interest in her work. And she and I worked together quite a bit. And so Dana got in touch and he said, I want us to do a myth salon. Can you introduce me to Jocelyn? And we can do, you and I and Jocelyn can do a myth salon together. This was only just like early October. This was only, you know, a little over a month ago. And he was so forward looking. He was all excited about it. And the thing that was interesting was I happened to be in Jocelyn's living room. She lives in Maryland. I live in Asheville. But because of Hurricane Helene, I couldn't do any work here because we'd lost power and internet and all those things. So I went up to Jocelyn's house in Maryland, which is, you know, 6-8 hours drive away, to be there with her so I could get some work done there, meet with my clients and do my work, so forth. And Dana gets in touch and says, oh, you know Jocelyn? So I wrote him back and I said, I happened to be in Jocelyn's living room talking to Jocelyn when I opened this, and he was all excited about it. And so we were planning to do something. And then, you know, we were starting the conversation about something to do. And that was just like, I couldn't have been more shocked when I heard that something had happened to him, because we were already in a sort of creative moment conversation. I just, I'm so grieving and so sorry for all of you, you know, the loss, and for all of us, the loss. And I just want to say thank you to Dana for the sort of visionary way he entered my life and sort of opened doors for me and helped me enter new worlds that I would have never been a part of, except with Dana's sort of invitation. I mean, what a door opener. I'm sure there are hundreds of people that have these stories, because that's who Dana is. He just is that visionary who sees things, and always the kindest, dearest heart. So very grateful for Dana, and very sorry for all of our loss. So yeah, love and blessings to all of you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And he just thought you were great.
So mutual. Yeah. Yeah, we had good conversations.
There are a few more, and then we're gonna play a little bit of a video and begin winding down. We'll go over our 2 hours, which is something I was kind of hoping for, but I don't think we'll go over 2.5, which is probably good. So Elizabeth Stewart, are you here? We would love to hear from you.
I think they might have left already.
Okay, well, maybe we'll hear back. Elizabeth was a wonderful contributor, and someone who brought me in to do a radio show. And then I ended up being asked to do a series, doing a series with Richard on the station. And that led me into the same momentum that became this Myth Salon. So she then invited us to do a radio show with her that was really special. Missing you, Elizabeth. Catherine Hart, are you here? We'd love to hear from you. Checking in. Catherine messaged me if I'm missing you. Ruth, are you with us?
Yes, I'm here.
Great, Ruth, would love to hear from you.
Good evening, everyone. And I only knew Dana for a few years. I met him through the Mastery Circle, and we had a lot in common, not from the mythological point of view, but I'm a filmmaker and a journalist and writer, and so we were colleagues in that sense. And everybody's been talking about how helpful he was. Well, I came to him and I said, Dana, I'm about to prepare a special program for the Parliament of the World's Religions. It's called Saving Seeds and Storytelling for Survival, A Woman's Perspective. And I brought together 4 outstanding women from different religions and ethnic backgrounds from around the world. And I want to do a Zoom call with them. Would you be willing to help me record it? And he was delighted to do it, and not only helped record it, he helped me also edit it afterwards, and we worked together as a team working on the show. And one of the first things he taught me, though, and I'm telling it to everybody here tonight, so this is a lesson that Dana is transmitting to all of you, is that when you're on Zoom, you don't look at the screen, you look at the little green light where the camera is, so that people feel right at them. And the first thing he had me do was record myself talking, looking at the green light, and I sent it to him, and then we studied it together, and he said, now look at yourself when your eyes are down at the screen, like now, and now look at yourself when your eyes are at the camera. So you want to remember that, so that you have a direct connection with the audience when you speak. So I'll always be grateful to him for that. Everybody that mentioned how helpful he was, one of the things I realized is that there's some people, when you ask them, can you help? They'll say, well, what do you need? But Dana would say yes first before he would ask what do you need. And the other thing, aside from his extravagant, gorgeous shirts, he had mythological shirts. He always wore great shirts with great patterns, great designs. He had a real flair for that. The other thing I wanted to mention about him was he, as a communicator, and this is what, and I identify with this aspect of him very profoundly. As a communicator, until he was able to share a profound experience he had, he didn't fully experience what it was. And that's why all the videos, the Tao, what he did with the Tao, what he did with his trip to Camino de Santiago with Michelle, that whatever he did that he felt inspired by, it wasn't enough just to register it and maybe share it with a friend. He wanted to make sure he could share it with many people. And I think that was really one of his greatest legacies to all of us. And so I knew him just a short time, but in that short time, he impacted me profoundly. And Michelle and his children and all his dear friends, I'm with you, and I share my deep condolences. And thank you for letting me speak about the incredible Dana White.
Thank you, Ruth. Thank you very much. Aida, are you with us? We'd love to hear from you.
Yes, thank you, Will, for letting me speak. I wanted to show you, I started a candle for this remembrance event, and it's almost at the end, so it's really good. If you know anything about candle magic, it's a really good sign. It means that his soul is really pleased. And I didn't know him personally, but it doesn't matter. You guys inspired me. I drew this candle in case it will burn out, so you guys see it's and it's Dana White, remembrance of Dana White. So I just wanted to share that this heartfelt gathering highlighted the beauty of a sacred burning of a candle that burns itself in order to illuminate people's faces that witness the Creator's original spark through that burning. It made me think of the myth of resurrecting Osiris, one part at a time. So this collective that I witnessed tonight, every single of your personal encounters with this man, Dana White, I didn't know personally, really resurrected this sacred Osiris through all of you, which was such a unique, special experience. So I'm really grateful. I wanted to speak about, you guys are right, there's no death, because to me, Dana White lives through all of you. That's the beauty of you. So I really appreciate the resurrecting of Osiris and in Dana White through all of you. So thank you.
Thank you, Aida, and I hope you'll send that picture, please, if you'd be willing. Amy, are you with us? We'd love to hear from you.
Sure. Thank you so much, Will, Michelle, and Sons. Thank you so much for this. Is what a beautiful evening. So I knew Dana from the Mastery Circle for the past 3.5 years, which really has altered my trajectory in my life. It's a group of people that are dedicated to the diving in of learning more about everything, curiosity, spiritual, you name it. So Dana was one of the first cheerleaders for my poetry and for my inner sense of like really going to uncover that alchemy that was waiting for me. I went to the Grace Cathedral. I didn't tell Dana that I was going, but I was going to the Grace Cathedral in March, and all I wanted to do in San Francisco was to walk a labyrinth. That's all I wanted to do. And when I got to the Grace Cathedral, I didn't know there was a labyrinth. And I walked the labyrinth, and the magic just ensued. And I got back, and I told the Mastery Circle, I took photos of the Grace Cathedral, and I told, and Dana's like, well, hey, you should jump on our Myth Salon because we're doing a whole labyrinth thing. And we're going to have Lauren Artest, who's like put the labyrinth in at Grace Cathedral. I'm like, what are you saying, Dana? What are you saying right now? His reach was so far and wide of everything. And so I met Lauren. Dana came to California, I think this past February, and it was the first time we got to meet him in person. I felt like I was meeting a rock star. I kept taking his picture at the restaurant, and he's like, Amy, what are you doing? It's just me. I go, I know, Dana, but it's like this legend. It's like I have to make sure we get all of the energy that you just put out on your fabulous Tao Te Ching and everything else. So I wrote a little thing. I had a sycamore tree in our front yard, and it got taken down the past week. And I didn't realize all the things it was holding for me. And when it was going down, I thought of Dana and the amount of love that trees and nature and gardens and things bigger than us hold for us until they can no longer hold it anymore. And we have to then be given it back so we can then alchemize and turn it into our own wisdom and our own nature. And it's just so funny that trees has been brought up so much because I don't think I will read this in time, but I will send it out if you'd like, and you could share it if you'd like. But
please.
I feel like he was a sage and an alchemist that and we all were supposed to meet. His Tao Te Ching is one of the most beautiful things, and I can't wait to buy a published copy of it because he said he didn't have one, but we have to get one, Michelle. Well,
amazing. Thank you, Amy.
Thank you.
And one thing I do know is that if and when that book is published, that will certainly be cause for us to call ourselves back to order for this. So thank you.
Well, there's something about that book. I can see the drafts in whatever that program is on his computer, but I haven't a clue what to do next. So if there's anybody in this group who knows things, I know he did stuff with Guard, for example. You may be able to help me. I know that Tom from Crash Paper is that guy, but I just don't know what to do. So anyway, I'm calling out for help.
Help will respond, I'm sure of it. And Michelle, we're looking forward to hearing from you in just a little bit. And there are a few more that I want to make sure we have a chance to hear from before we begin to move into the final pieces. Brandon, pretty sure I see you're still here. We'd love to hear from you.
Hey, thanks for the invitation. Yeah. Hi, Michelle. So Dana was at Pacifica in 1998, thereabouts. I found myself thinking about him, and his face is associated in my mind with one transition after another. I was trying to find something associated with Pacifica and my academic work that doesn't have Dana's stamp on it. And I'm really having a hard time finding it. I mean, I started at Pacifica in 2001, and the World Trade Towers fell, and I began there, and I created the Pacifica Network on Yahoo Groups, which was one of our main email stays, so that everybody got to participate in. And everyone who heard my call for more explicit community building among Pacifica students and alumni kept pointing toward Dana. I think this the year after that, I think that he was the department chair at the Art Institute, and he ended up hiring 7 Pacifica alums, and would talk about his achievements in terms of what other people benefited from. And an amazing facilitator of other people's joy and success. Which I said, David Miller's retirement, I guess that was 2004. So I'm there. And then I stayed with Dana and Michelle in July with my wife in their beautiful house and just had a fabulous time. And we still talk about the stories from that time. The colloquium, the first colloquium, I think, with Robert Siegel in like August of that year. In 2005, he was one of the people I checked in with when my son was born, Aiden. And I began my dissertation, and he hunted books for me and captured them and would send them to me. And if he couldn't find, if the hunt did not yield meat, he would Xerox articles of some of the most rare materials, because of course they were part of his library, or he knew where to find them. And as part of my dissertation research, I began recording live events with Richard Page and conference recording service, including like most of the public events at Pacifica, and meeting so many of the people who have been on this call, who even the ones who hadn't been my teachers at Pacifica, and seeing Dana at, I don't know, almost every gathering. Yeah. And then we lost Aiden in 2006, and his heartfelt sympathy and just really accompanying me through a part of that. That year was, that's when Stephanie found Maggie McCary dead on her bedroom floor. We had the first Fool's Gathering with David Miller, and that was a big try. That year was something, and he indexed it for me in so many ways, just with little conversations and checking in and letting me know that I mattered to him, which obviously he did for, I think hundreds of people would not be an exaggeration. I think it was December of the next year that he and Michelle were heading to Mountain View for Christmas with her mom, and he wrote me, "You're one of the real flowers in the Pacifica garden, but don't take that any strange sort of way." And it made me laugh. And then I realized he was telling so many people that this blossoming that he kept being a part of, I'm not sure how. I think poetry would be the only way to really talk about that, and I don't have anything prepared for that. I graduated from Pacifica in 2010, finished my dissertation, did all that, and then I was part of the Foundation for Mythological Studies, Nature and Human Aid, the Mythology of Violence thing that happened at that time, and he came and was part of that. And then, yeah, I'm not sure. I returned to teach at Pacifica in 2018 in the Somatic Psychology department. And he was part of my going back to it and checked in with me and asked me how it was going and wanted to know about my students. And I was a Myth Salon panelist in his Transforming Consciousness. And he told me that he brought me in to say hard things and ask about shadow and grief and bring out conflicts to engage together. I think I'm paraphrasing, but I think his reasoning was to reassure others that depth was in progress and that there was no need for everything to be spun into positivity. And in that vein, when I heard about his death, I realized how much I miss him and also how much I missed opportunities that I had chosen to let our connection lapse, that I had found email drafts I'd never sent in response to his constant encouragement and the end of opportunities there. And I know how important it is to talk about in a positive way how much we loved him. But I don't know that I will see him again. I don't know that I won't. I don't know. And I'm feeling his loss very keenly. And wanting Michelle to know that, but just the community to know that he was very available to talk about the things that were hard. And I really appreciate him for that. I think that's all I need to say. I probably spoke too long anyway, but I miss him.
Thank you, Brandon. Yeah, no, this is awake, so there's no too long.
I need some whiskey. Maybe I should.
Yeah, I thought about that.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, one thing that is really interesting is I also did hear from a number of people who said, you know, I can't believe I just happened to have a last call with Dana, or just happened to have a, you know, and I think that the people that, you know, because we all know Dana, and we know Dana, we know he didn't hold it against you that he didn't hear that sent email. He was just constantly there, just being supportive, you know?
Yep.
And yeah, thank you, Brandon.
Thank you.
Terry, I'm pretty sure you're still here. Would love to hear from you.
Hi, thank you so much. Woo, I am learning so much about Dana. I'm feeling that grief of lost opportunity. And when I heard that he died, thank you, Corinne, for that, Corinne. Michelle, I haven't met you, but you were so in my heart. I was just feeling for all of you that are so close to him, that loss. And I was tuning in for many days after his death. Every time he came to my mind, which was many, many times, and every time I tuned in, I saw him being carried in a river of love, just radiating with love all around him. And it was comforting. I feel like that passage for him was really, really fed. And of course, think of all the people who were tuning into his passage for those days afterwards. So when I showed up to do my first Myth Salon program, which was The Way of the Wise Elder in film, it was perfect. I'd never been so prepared. I'd never had such a perfect presentation. And of course, that was, you know, that was the curse right there. So when I showed up, Zoom wouldn't let me log in, and Zoom wouldn't let me log in, and Zoom wouldn't let me log in. And I was frantic. In fact, I never came back into my body for the whole thing. But the panel rose to the occasion, and there were fancy people on that panel. So there I was in front of all these fancy people, not being able to get my Zoom to work. But the panel rose to the occasion, and afterwards, the next day, I re-recorded it at home. And for weeks, Dana and I worked, him doing the work. He edited something together. And every once in a while, with over 2 weeks, he would check in with me and say, this is a lot of editing. This is much more than what I signed up for. And so what I really want to honor is the practical part of him that was born to be a producer, you know, and how that dovetailed with his calling and his gift of community building and wholeheartedness. He was such a big heart. When I was just getting to know him and we had just a Zoom, you know, visit, I said, you are such a heart person. And that moved him, you know, and just such a huge heart. So I want to honor what a masterful editor he was, and what a born producer, and how that came together with that passion, that gift for community building, and the open-hearted, generous leadership that he brought to everything. So much. So I want to share a poem from William Stafford, you know, a poet's poet. And I'm very much, he's an ancestor to me. And I'm very much fascinated by the poems he wrote in the few days before his death. He died on August 28th, and this is written on August 25th, and he knew he was dying. At noon comes the lift. Let me turn this light on. At noon comes the lift. Sunlight pries open a first section of afternoon so that my shadow can begin its career. With a little wise adjustment, my whole life might move into some phase not evident when my parents made their plans. Quiet as the sun, my breathing slides past barriers and hours. Night, I'm coming, my little spaceship calls. And oh, all else is waiting for whatever turn my fate gives forth toward evening and the dark and the patient stars. Night, I'm coming, my little spaceship calls. I love that line. So thank you all for this, and blessings and love to you, Michelle, and to you, Will, and to you, Corinne. All of you who loved him much longer than I even knew him. Thank you for this.
Thank you, Terry. That was a beautiful poem. Thank you for that poem. And thank you for saying that people don't know necessarily, people may not know, maybe they can tell just how many, the hundreds and hundreds of hours he put into these things, into the editing. And
wow.
Just unbelievable amount of time and energy. And I think that people may not look at Dana and think about, may not have just said, oh, that guy, he can run 1,000,000 miles. That might not have been what you thought at first. But when he died, you look down at what he did and you see just the unbelievable volume and the accomplishment, and the steadiness could fool you, but it's exactly the steadiness that did it. Thank you.
He packed so much life into his life, so much. And yes, I was looking forward to him teaching me how to edit. Yeah.
Thank you. Catherine Hart, I believe you were in his cohort. Would you like to say something?
Oh, I'd love to.
Thank you.
So Dana and I, indeed, with so many of us who are here tonight, were at Pacifica in 1998. And I know for me, it was like finding my tribe, finally. And Dana just kind of stepped into being our Hermes, forever taking us between our minds and our souls, and the heavens and the earth. He is an amazing human being, and I will forever be grateful that we met. Dana and I became fast friends, and that is how our relationship traveled the years, not in a I felt he was my brother, and I loved him dearly, and we spoke very personally to one another. We whispered secrets. And yet I knew Dana to be this person that you all speak of, and have grown to love. Michelle, thank you for your call, honey. Dana, I heard of Dana's death an hour after I heard of my 26-year-old grandson's death. My grandson had had cancer for 4 years, a very rare cancer. And I had known he was going to die the night before. And so I had the confirmation that morning. And then in an hour or so, I get a call from Michelle. And I was just stunned. I had been prepared for my grandson's death, but I cannot still imagine a world without Dana White in it. He was my friend, and we spoke often on the phone. I live in Santa Fe, and Dana and Michelle would come to visit, and we would go to visit them, and we were friends in the deepest meaning of that word. Again, some of you mentioned Dana's influence by the moon, and the moon it was the hunter moon that he died under. And I thought, well, that's just really appropriate because Dana was a hunter. He was a hunter of life, and he was curious about everything and everyone. And that's what made him this phenomenal human being that he was. It's really hard for me. But when I heard about Dana's death, and then, after kind of the shock and everything wore off, I thought of he and my grandson, JR, who had been so much like Dana, not in the mythology world, but in the world of science. And he was kind and he was inclusive. He was an outdoorsman. He loved everything and wanted to learn everything. And so I like to imagine, since I don't believe any of us really know what comes after, that their energy just went, hey, Catherine. Well, yeah, I do. And then off they went into the cosmos. It warms my heart to think of them going within that same time period. There were a couple of things during the last few months of my grandson's life. I went to a Buddhist temple here in Santa Fe, and they had the Tibetan monks. They're building a sand mandala for healing. And so I went there and I observed them making the mandala, and then I went there when they swept it away. And I have some of that sand. And so I was reminded, of course, of the impermanence. This is a quote from Wes Moore. Life's impermanence, I realized, is what makes every single day so precious. It's what shapes our time here. It's what makes it so important that not a single moment is wasted. That's Dana. I look at the sand, and when I look at it, it's just kind of gray. But when I look more closely, every color is there. I have to remember Dana that way, that he is not, for me, my memories, he is not the gray, that he is every color. It's still all in my heart and will be till the day I die. Michelle, I love you and thank you for your friendship, honey. Yeah, back at you. We'll talk soon. Thank you, Will, and thank you everyone with the Myth Salon. I have followed, and when Dana started doing this in their home, he would encourage me to come on out, and I was not able to do it, but I certainly joined you all in the Myth Salons and have continued to learn, and my life enriched. And our boy Dana got it going. So thank you all.
Thank you, Catherine. I'm so glad that we came back to you and that you're able to share your emotional memories of Dana. That means a lot, especially as we're going to now transition into our final stages of the evening. I'm going to ask now Jacqueline to come on. Jacqueline, as I mentioned, hosted an event that honored the Myth Salon just that week before Dana passed. And I want to say, Catherine, you just mentioned the full moon again. And for those of you who don't know, the full moon was in Aries. And so I said to my friend, I said, hey, there's a lot going on in the sky this day. There's a lot going on this day. You want to tell me what's going on in the sky? He said, full moon in Aries. You should go look and see when the new moon was in Aries. I said, oh, let's look and see. It was the eclipse. So a very, very, very big special day. That full moon was tethered to whatever was happening with that gargantuan eclipse we experienced. That was the day. Okay, Jacqueline, please please come in and tell us a little bit about that special event you hosted.
Hi, everyone. I just want to say thank you so much for everyone sharing. I am part of the group that knew Will knew Dana very, very shortly. I met him at last year's Mythology at Pacifica, and he actually met me and my entire family because I brought my parents with me and my boyfriend and everything. My father just got accepted into the PhD program in mythology as well at the age of 78. I am so proud of him. He was actually calling in from Hong Kong to join us here tonight, but sadly he had to leave. So shout out to my dad, Eric Hulkers. You saw him comment, I think, a lot on the chat about the Tao Te Ching. Dana and I started talking a lot because of my concept paper for my dissertation. I'm in my 4th year, and I just formed my committee, and he was very in love with the concept of the Tao Te Ching in terms of the Tao being the pinpoint of creation and that we always return to the Tao, which kind of makes me really fall in love with this whole conversation tonight about how we always do come back to the beginning. And that's where he is right now. I loved his Myth Salon very much. I tried to attend as many as I could. It just seemed like he was always doing something. And I don't know how my dad did it, but he always called in from Hong Kong, even though it was on the other side of the world. My dad loved it. They started emailing each other almost every week. I would start talk to Dana here and there occasionally when I could. I was able to go to the William Blake exhibits and to meet a lot of you there for the very first time in person, which was really, really wonderful. And because I loved what Dana and Will were doing for Myth Salon, I really wanted to actually invite them to talk to us at Mythic Nexus. So I inherited Mythic Nexus, a student group that was created during COVID for Pacifica graduate students in the mythology program who lacked a place to be able to commune with each other as students. Part of this is that, yes, it's an online platform for us students to talk to each other, but it's also an opportunity to actually invite not just cohort members and current classmates, but also guest speakers to come on and talk to us about what can you do with myth outside of school. John Booker came, and talked to us too. Aida was a part of me creating what it is today. And when I wrote to Dana on Friday, he, within 5 days, put together Will and Dennis Slattery to come and talk to us students for a wonderful evening. And the entire event was recorded on Zoom, which you can see on the Myth Salon YouTube channel right now, if you haven't seen it already. I want to play just a short snippet of this, of how he had described the Myth Salon in terms of its beginnings. So let's share this video. And I hope it's not too long, but I hope you guys like it.
What we do in the Myth Salon is we go out for hunting. We go out hunting for good people, good topics. Topics that connect cultures, talk about spirituality, talk about cosmology. And we are amazingly successful at getting these people to come in. We don't charge anything for the Myth Salon, and we don't receive anything for the Myth Salon. We just do it. It is something that we both have felt a real passion for. Let me go to another screen share for a second.
In the days of the Dana House events, they were structured more at the time as me interviewing a guest. Once we moved online, and I will get there in the narrative, it transitioned. So what we're doing now is a little bit different. So what we're looking back on is back in that interview structure.
That's really true. And we are a child of COVID.
Yeah.
We were set to do another home event with Chris Vogler. Mm-hmm. And when COVID slammed the culture, nobody knew what was happening. Everybody stayed put. There were no social gatherings. Everything was canceled. Work was canceled. Schools were canceled. Everything was shut down. gradually it opened back up. And what happened was, I went to Chris Vogler and I said, I've heard about this thing called Zoom. And today Zoom is commonplace, but at that time, nobody knew what it was or how to make it work or what you were doing. And we went on, and while we had, what would you say, we had 30 or 40 people at my home? So,
oh yeah, that would be like filling it up to the brim.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
And that was sort of either upstairs or downstairs. We had this, we kind of operated at full capacity. And immediately when we went online on Zoom, we were able to pull in at least 100 for Chris Vogler with nobody even knowing what was going on with Zoom. And it built from there. And
so
we never went back.
One of the things I wanted to mention in our history is that so it started with Dana and I doing this thing, Dana coming to me and asking me to do this in his home. And that had a certain structure and it was really supported by the Pacifica Alumni Association. Meanwhile, before I had moved to LA, I had been running Joseph Campbell Foundation mythological roundtables with other fellow myth students at the time at the Ojai Foundation, which is now the Topa Institute. And so we had done that for years and we had kind of developed a list doing that, but it wasn't a list that I could invite to anything in LA. And also I had done that radio show in Santa Barbara for the Santa Barbara News Press, and the list had come from that as well. And meanwhile, I'm teaching at this school of young artists. And the other thing that happened when we went online is we were able to extend our invitation, to all the different places we had been working with people and developed relationships and tribes and stuff. We could bring them together. And it was at a moment when it was existential. I'm over here. I was managing a department. I had like 12 teachers at a time, normally getting 15 that semester, and several of them Pacifica graduates. And we're over here like in a existential space about what we're doing as teachers at the time, but also what we were doing with the Myth Salon. We were getting so many beautiful messages from people who were, doing push-ups alone in their apartment and getting to connect with people through the Myth Salon. It was a very special time, and it provided a lot of purpose and momentum that came from community really asking for it at that time.
So I was going to take this opportunity to say thank you, Dana, for doing that for me within 5 days. Thank you for editing the video and then sending it to me. Thank you for Will to doing that with us that night. And thank you, Dennis, for showing up. Dennis, I think I got a message, I think the morning of that Dennis was joining us that day. And it was just so brilliant. So super grateful and super in my heart so much for Dina and for Michelle. Thank you.
Thank you, Jacqueline. Gosh, it's so nice just to hear from Dana a little bit. And it's so nice to know that we get to keep hearing from Dana. I know I'll be watching these Myth Salons forever and ever and ever myself. Now is this beautiful part of the evening where I ask Michelle if you would like to say something and like to respond to this beautiful evening and all this outpouring.
I would, and I hope I can do this. I've had a little bit of tough stuff going on here, particularly when my dear, dear Catherine was speaking, but also with others. So first of all, I want to thank each and every one of you for your warm and heartfelt tributes to and remembrances of my husband, Dana White. I hold the deepest gratitude for you as I find my bearings in this new wilderness that I'm here without a voice besides. I'm confident that you will hold fond memories of him throughout your days, as many of you have even said. And I'm confident also, as Rumi described in his poem, Love Dogs, it is in your reaching out, in your longing, in your embodiment of the best of Dana, not in any remembered utterance from him or from the whole universe, where the magic happens and where the sacred lies. I would like to share with you who my husband was, not as a producer or a philosopher or a mythologist or a mentor, but as a man, and he was indeed an extraordinary man. Everything he did in life, he did with all his heart. He inspired all those around him, and perhaps most of all, me,
We lived together in awe of the world around us by day and read Rumi together by lamplight. Well, the nightly reading faded as the years went by, of course, but still we found so many other ways of sharing the beauty of our life together. We traveled the world and found amazing new music and sights and tastes. And the ancients spoke to us in temples and cathedrals and gardens and the fields and forests through which we walked. We were partners, we were lovers, we were each other's best friend and soulmate. We cooked for one another and wrote poetry to each other. We signed every text with, "I love you." We never said goodbye or simply good night. It was always, "I love you, good night." Dana's passion was not only to find the magic and alchemy in the world, but also to share it. His series on the Tao Te Ching, and people have said this evening, and these myth salons, as well as the many stories he was always telling to our friends, were as much about inspiring others as about his own explorations of the depths of the psyche. And in return, he was inspired by and quite literally thrived on the admiration that you all showed him as he shared his passions. He trusted that the world would give him whatever he wanted. And amazingly to me, it always did. And David mentioned driving around the block for a parking space. No, when Dana was in the car, the parking space was there, always there. So he got whatever he wanted from the world, from a parking space to a wife who loved him mightily, trusted him with her whole heart, and supported him throughout the 24 years of our marriage. Yesterday actually was year 25, the 25th anniversary of the day we met. When we moved, however, to Santa Cruz, while he was thrilled at first, our old life in Santa Monica kept calling him back because, as I said, that's where he felt the admiration from the people at our Pacifica Graduate Institute summer events, the musicians that we hosted from around the world for their LA concerts, clients in his book projects, as well as beloved places such as the Hollywood Bowl and the Getty Museums, none of which have a match here in Santa Cruz. And yet he hadn't yet settled into the equal glories of this place, including our widening circle of friends, the joy of being close to Carmel and Big Sur, and a stone's throw from the great waves, sea life, and sparkling skies of Santa Cruz itself. He missed LA terribly, and I knew how tortured he felt, yet I was helpless to bring him enough of the everyday joy that he craved in our new life, in part because I was buried in my own passion project, which was in creating and building ourselves a new home with every detail tailored specifically for the needs and joys of the two of us. While I lived in my vision of the final result, Dana lived in the dust and chaos of our remodel. Happily, in the last few months, I heard in his words and I felt in his heart, shifting more and more toward home. On the last evening of his life, and coincidentally, the last day the contractors were working on our remodel, at a party with close friends, he announced to those around us that he had come to realize here in Santa Cruz, here on Lighthouse Avenue, he truly was home. He finally made it back to Ithaca. 3 days after he died, I found a WhatsApp text that he had sent me, a few weeks old, that I hadn't noticed before. It was a bunch of emojis and those 3 little words, "I love you." It's just a second, I have more. It's now been 1 moon cycle and 1 calendar month, which he wouldn't have counted on, but he would have on the moon cycle. And as the falling leaves give way to the bare sky, I can start to see a guiding star as I begin to find my way, knowing that Dana White lives forever in my heart.
Thank you, Michelle. Thank you. That means so much to all of us. And I know it means so much to all of us that you are hearing what everyone had to say. I think it means the most that you're hearing.
It means so much to me. It really, really does.
I think it's a good time for us to thank you, as Dana often would, for being the real reason we have a Myth Salon, and we ever did. As he would always say, it was because of your book club that he said, you know, I want something like that for myself. So thank you, Michelle. I'm now going to read Ithaca and begin to say just a few final things, and then we'll close with that beautiful translation of Dana's of the Tao, of the All Things Must Pass section. And one thing I want to say right now, just after hearing my immediate response to everyone, is that there's something to measure. Measure is important. We need measures in our life. We need high watermarks. And Dana has provided a measure to the world for how to live, how to be a mythologist, how to be a human. He provided an incredible measure that I think matters to a lot of us. And with that, it's now my honor to read Ithaca. And as I do, I want to say that before I heard this poem, Dennis Slattery said to a much younger Will, he said, you know what a mentor told me one time? He said, may you not get there till the end. And that was echoing in my mind when Robert Walter, read the poem Ithaca at Esalen in Big Sur on Joseph Campbell's birthday. And then I heard Dana read it. And it's been a story that I've always associated with mentors for that reason. Hearing it from Dennis, hearing Dennis talk about his mentor, Bob. Dana. And now it's my honor to read it. As you set out for Ithaca, hope your road is a long one, full of adventure, full of discovery. Lystergonians, Cyclops, angry Poseidon, don't be afraid of them. You'll never find things like that on your way, as long as you keep your thoughts raised high. As long as a rare excitement stirs your spirit and your body. Lystergonians, Cyclops, wild Poseidon, you won't encounter them unless you bring them along inside your soul, unless your soul sets them up in front of you. Hope your road is a long one. May there be many summer mornings when, with what pleasure, what joy, you enter harbors you're seeing for the first time. May you stop at Phoenician trading stations to buy fine things, mother of pearl and coral, amber and ebony, sensual perfume of every kind, as many sensual perfumes as you can. And may you visit many Egyptian cities to learn and go on learning from their scholars. Keep Ithaca always in your mind. Arriving there is what you're destined for. But don't hurry the journey at all. Better if it lasts for years, so you're old by the time you reach the island. Wealthy, with all you've gained on the way, not expecting Ithaca to make you rich. Ithaca gave you the marvelous journey. Without her, you wouldn't have set out. She has nothing left to give you now. And if you find her poor, Ithaca won't have fooled you. Wise as you will have become, so full of experience, you'll have understood by then what these Ithacas mean. Dana was a mentor and a friend to me, and someone that I journeyed with. This Myth Salon journey has been one of the most important parts and chapters of my life. And one thing I remember thinking about in Lance's class, Lance Smith, when he was teaching us the underworld, I remember thinking about the loss of Enkidu, the best friend. And it was then that I realized that when we lose a best friend, that it's really and I had lost my best friend from college. shortly after college. And when we lose a best friend, it's our space, it's our job, it's our thing. If we want them, if we care about them, to bring them into ourselves and bring them into our lives. And that's what I want to really end on, is this idea that Dana was everything that Dana was. It was there in his like core code. It was there in his essence. It was there in his vibrance. It was there in his being. And I want to receive that gift that he brought to us, that he brought to me, that he brought to the world. I want to take it into my heart, as has been said. And I hope that we will all collectively receive the gift in the way that we can. It's very special what he gave us. There are a few things that Dana really was excited about, more that I know. And I've decided not to say anything about the future of the Myth Salon. This is a time of mourning. But what I do want to say is that there are some things that he was excited about, and those things are suddenly more holy. As Chris invited all of you to participate and fascinated by everything, we were excited that he was excited to come and see the show in the Dome at Cossum in LA. And that's even more holy now. He gave me his library, his gargantuan library, and I took it to Alabama. And I don't know what's going to happen with that library, but it's beautiful and it's there. And I'm sure it'll be part of his continuation. There are a number of things. We'll continue to invite everyone to be involved. There's much to continue, much to integrate, much to receive. But now I'd like to shift, and we'll close this out with a final gift from Dana. His translation of the Tao, All Things Must Pass. Jacqueline, can you please play that for us?
Trust your nature, and everything will find its place. Rains do not last forever. When clouds obscure the sun, they too will soon pass. All the elements, good and bad, each a voice needing to be heard. How can we tell them apart? Let them in. They are all temporary. Nothing lasts forever.
We'll pull out right here. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Jacqueline. Thank you, Michelle. Love to you. Love to everyone. Love to Dana. I'm going to ring this bowl, and then I'm going to end this meeting, and I'll see you all again. All love. We're all sending love to you, Michelle. Bye, everybody. Thank you, everyone.
Good night, everyone.
Lovely to see everyone.
Lovely. Thank you.
Thank you. That was beautiful. Thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you.
Love.
Thank you all. Thank you.
Will.
Oh, you did an amazing job.
Thanks. So good to see you. Gosh, faces. All right.
Great to see everybody.
Just beautiful.
Namaste.
Beautiful.
Thank you.
Will.
Thank you. Okay. Good night, everyone.
Hey, good night.
Good night.
The Myth Doctor.